Why do I keep waking up at 3 a.m.? The surprising truth for older adults. Have you ever found yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wide awake while the rest of the world sleeps? The room is quiet. The clock ticks slowly. You're not in pain. You're not anxious. But somehow your eyes pop open, and getting back to sleep feels nearly impossible. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, it's one of the most common sleep patterns among older adults. Yet very few people talk about it openly. Many assume something must be wrong, either with their health, their mind, or their sleep habits. But waking up at 3 a.m. isn't necessarily a sign of a problem. It can actually be a natural reflection of how your body and mind are changing with time. In this video, we're going to gently explore 5 common reasons why older adults often wake up in the early morning hours. These aren't just surface-level explanations. They're grounded in science, experience, and the lived reality of aging. We'll talk about the shifts in hormones, sleep cycles, emotional needs, and even daily routines that may be quietly influencing your rest. More importantly, we'll do it with understanding and respect. Because sleep is personal, it's tied to how you live, how you feel, and how you've adapted over the years. So if you've been wondering why you're up before the sun, take heart. This isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about discovering what your body might be trying to tell you and finding gentle ways to support it. Let's take a deeper look together. 1. Reduced melatonin production. Your body's nighttime messenger is slowing down. One of the most common and natural reasons older adults tend to wake up around 3 a.m. is a reduction in melatonin, the hormone your body produces to help regulate sleep. Often called the sleep hormone, melatonin is like your internal signal that it's time to power down, rest, and recharge. When you were younger, your pineal gland likely released melatonin in strong, steady waves each evening. This consistent rhythm helped you fall asleep easily and stay asleep through the night. But as you age, melatonin levels naturally begin to decline. By the time you're in your late 60s or 70s, your body may only produce a fraction of the amount it once did. And when that nighttime signal fades too soon, your sleep can be cut short, even if you went to bed on time. This is especially true during the early morning hours, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., when your body's melatonin levels tend to dip even further. Without enough of it circulating in your system, your brain may quietly begin the process of waking up, even if you still need more rest. The result? You find yourself lying awake at 3 a.m., not quite ready to start the day, but unable to fall back asleep. The environment around you can also play a role. As we age, we become more sensitive to light. Even small amounts, like a nightlight in the hallway, the glow of a digital clock, or a porch light filtering through the blinds, can further suppress melatonin production. This makes it even harder for your body to stay in that restful, sleep-supportive state. Take Harold, a 72-year-old retired teacher who prided himself on being a solid sleeper for most of his life. Lately, though, he began waking up around 3:15 a.m., fully alert yet confused about why. He didn't feel anxious or in pain. After learning more about melatonin and aging, Harold made a few simple adjustments. He replaced his bedside clock with one that has no glow, added blackout curtains, and started dimming the lights an hour before bed. He even began taking a short evening walk to support his natural sleep-wake rhythm. Those changes didn't cure his early wake-ups overnight, but they helped. Now, when Harold wakes early, he knows it's not a personal failure. It's just a signal from his changing body. And that shift in mindset has been powerful. Understanding the role melatonin plays in your sleep can bring a sense of peace. You're not broken. You're not doing anything wrong. You're simply adjusting to a new phase of life, one where your body's chemistry is speaking in a slightly different language. By listening carefully, dimming the lights, and creating a soothing environment, you can support your natural rhythms and give yourself the best chance at restful, uninterrupted sleep. 2. A shift in your body's clock. The quiet pull of an advanced sleep phase. Have you noticed yourself feeling sleepy earlier in the evening than you used to? Maybe you're nodding off during the 10 o'clock news, or finding it harder to stay awake for that movie you used to enjoy. Then just hours later, often around 3 a.m., you wake up completely alert, long before you want to. This isn't just a quirk of aging. It's a well-documented biological change called advanced sleep phase syndrome, and it's something many older adults experience as part of the natural rhythm of aging. Here's what happens. As we grow older, our circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates when we feel sleepy and when we feel awake, begins to shift earlier. This means your body starts winding down sooner in the evening and may finish its full rest cycle earlier in the morning, even if the world outside is still dark and quiet. So while you may still be getting a full 6 to 7 hours of sleep, the window has moved. If you're falling asleep around 8:30 or 9 p.m., then waking up at 3 a.m. might actually be your body's way of saying, you've rested and now it's time to wake. This can feel frustrating, especially when your lifestyle, family schedule, or personal habits don't align with this new internal rhythm. But the key here is recognizing that this isn't insomnia. It's not a sleep disorder. It's just your body adjusting to a different schedule than the one you've been used to. Let's take Charles as an example. He's 68 and retired. Without the structure of work or early appointments, he began eating dinner around 5:30 p.m. and heading to bed by 8:45. Within a few weeks, he started waking up at 3:15 a.m., feeling rested but unsure of what to do at that hour. Once he learned about advanced sleep phase, he realized that his body wasn't broken. It had simply shifted. With that understanding, Charles made a few gentle changes. He added a short phone call with his daughter after dinner to stay mentally engaged, took a slow-paced walk around the block at 7 p.m., and delayed bedtime by 30 to 45 minutes by reading under a warm lamp. These little changes helped push his internal clock slightly later, leading to more restful sleep and fewer early wake-ups. What matters most is this: you're not alone, and you're not doing anything wrong. If you're waking up at 3 a.m., your body may simply be following a new pattern. By paying attention to your daily routines, light exposure, and bedtime rituals, you can gently guide your rhythm into a pattern that feels more aligned with your life. Remember, your body's clock hasn't stopped ticking. It's just ticking a little earlier now. And with awareness and care, you can learn to live in harmony with its new rhythm. 3. Physical discomfort or health interruptions. When the body speaks at night. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. isn't about hormones or sleep cycles. It's about something simpler and more immediate. Your body is uncomfortable. As we grow older, physical sensations that we might have brushed off in our younger years tend to become more noticeable, especially in the stillness of the night. A stiff joint, a dry mouth, a subtle ache in the back, or the urge to use the restroom. All of these can quietly pull you from sleep without any dramatic alarm. In fact, many older adults experience what could be called silent sleep disruptors, mild but persistent physical sensations that build up gradually as we lie still for several hours. Take arthritis, for example. If you have even mild joint inflammation, staying in one position for too long can lead to stiffness or discomfort that gently nudges you awake. You may not realize it right away, but after waking, shifting positions, or walking to the bathroom, you suddenly feel the tightness in your hips, knees, or shoulders. For others, it might be acid reflux, especially if dinner was on the heavier side or eaten late in the evening. That burning sensation or discomfort in the chest can sneak in during early morning hours, disrupting deep sleep and making it harder to fall back into a restful state. Then there's one of the most common culprits, the need to urinate. As we age, the bladder loses some elasticity and signaling becomes more sensitive. Even if you didn't drink a lot before bed, your body might still wake you at 3 a.m. with the urge to go. And once you're up, the simple act of moving around can signal to your brain that it's time to stay awake, even if it's still dark outside. Medication is another factor often overlooked. Many older adults take prescription drugs for blood pressure, heart health, or pain management. Some of these medications cause side effects like increased urination, changes in body temperature, or sensitivity to noise and light, all of which can interfere with sleep. Take Eleanor, a 76-year-old widow who prided herself on being a light sleeper. Over the past year, she began waking at 3:30 a.m. regularly. It wasn't until her doctor reviewed her medications that they realized one of her blood pressure pills was acting as a diuretic, increasing nighttime bathroom trips. By adjusting the timing of her dosage and making small changes, like avoiding heavy meals after 6 p.m. and using a body pillow for joint support, Eleanor found herself sleeping more soundly again. The important message here? Waking up doesn't mean your body's failing. In fact, it means your body is responding, signaling, and asking for attention in its own subtle way. By paying closer attention to your comfort, hydration, medication timing, and evening routines, you can address the small physical disruptions that quietly interrupt your sleep and give yourself the gift of deeper rest and greater ease through the night. 4. Lifestyle habits that quietly shift your sleep rhythm. Sometimes the reason you find yourself waking at 3 a.m. isn't medical or hormonal. It's simply a reflection of how your daily routine has gently shifted over time. As we age, our lifestyles often become more relaxed. Retirement means fewer early appointments or obligations, which can lead to slower mornings, quieter afternoons, and earlier evenings. You might eat dinner at 5 p.m., take your shower before the sun sets, and find yourself winding down much earlier than you did in your working years. Over time, these small natural adjustments can signal to your body that bedtime should come sooner. And if your body goes to sleep earlier, say 8:30 or 9 p.m., it's not surprising that it might decide to wake up after 6 to 7 hours of rest. That often puts you squarely in the 3 a.m. window, even if you're not quite ready to start the day. Take Walter, for instance. He's 74, recently retired, and enjoying a quieter pace of life. Most evenings, he finishes dinner by 5:15 p.m., watches a bit of television, and dozes off in his recliner before 8 p.m. By 9 p.m., he's in bed. After years of a fast-paced career, this peaceful routine felt well-deserved. But soon he noticed he was waking up around 3 a.m., refreshed but disoriented, and unsure why he couldn't sleep longer. The answer lies in how daily habits influence the circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock. Dim lights, minimal activity, and lack of stimulation in the evening can prompt earlier melatonin production, encouraging your body to fall asleep sooner. Without realizing it, you've trained your system to reset its nighttime schedule. Other subtle cues also play a role. Less daytime activity, especially physical movement, can reduce the body's natural drive for deep sleep. Similarly, if you're no longer exposed to as much bright, natural light during the day, your brain gets less reinforcement of when to feel alert and when to feel sleepy. Food timing can contribute too. Eating dinner early is often a healthy choice, but going to bed on an empty stomach may lead to dips in blood sugar during the night, which can quietly wake you without any feeling of hunger. Walter eventually made a few gentle changes to his routine. He added a 20-minute walk around 5:30 p.m., read under a warm lamp to stay mentally engaged, and enjoyed a small protein-based snack around 8 p.m. He also resisted the urge to go to bed before 9:30. Within a couple of weeks, his wake-up time began to shift naturally closer to 5 a.m., allowing him to sleep through the night more often. The lesson here? Your lifestyle patterns, especially in the evening, can shape your sleep more than you might think. By staying just a bit more active later in the day and adjusting your environment and habits, you can help your body reclaim a sleep rhythm that feels more aligned with your life. 5. Emotional restlessness and loneliness. When the heart wakes before the sun. Not every 3 a.m. wake-up is caused by hormones, physical discomfort, or routine. Sometimes the mind simply refuses to stay asleep, not because it's in distress, but because it's quietly reflecting. As we grow older, our lives tend to become quieter. The hustle and noise that once filled our days, raising children, rushing to work, juggling responsibilities, begin to fade. And while that slower pace can bring peace, it can also open space for deeper thoughts to rise to the surface, especially in the stillness of the early morning. At 3 a.m., the world is silent. The phone isn't ringing, the television is off, the house is still, and in that silence, your mind may begin to wander, revisiting memories, regrets, or unspoken worries. You may not feel anxious in the traditional sense, but there's a quiet hum beneath the surface, a sense that something is unfinished or simply asking to be noticed. This form of emotional restlessness is incredibly common and deeply human. It doesn't mean you're sad or broken. It means you're processing life, loss, change, time. Consider Gloria, an 80-year-old widow living alone in the home she once shared with her husband of 47 years. By day, she tends her garden, chats with her grandkids, and enjoys her favorite books. But in the early morning hours, she often wakes and finds her thoughts drifting back to the past, to conversations left unsaid, to people she misses, to moments that still echo quietly in her memory. At first, Gloria thought something was wrong with her sleep, but eventually she came to understand that her body was simply offering her a moment of stillness, a chance to connect with what her heart was holding. She began keeping a small journal on her nightstand. Nothing fancy, just a place to jot down her thoughts, memories, or questions when they stirred. She also began ending her evenings with soft music and a gratitude reflection, gently closing the day with emotional care. Loneliness can also be a hidden companion in these moments. Even if you're surrounded by people during the day, the night can feel long and hollow, especially when you're sleeping alone after years of sharing a bed. That emptiness isn't weakness. It's a reflection of the love, connection, and presence your heart once knew. The key isn't to fight these moments, but to greet them with grace and tenderness. If your heart is whispering at 3 a.m., ask what it needs: a memory to honor, a feeling to release, a simple moment of stillness. By giving your emotions space, not pushing them away, you may find that sleep returns more easily. And even if it doesn't, you've honored something important within yourself. You've lived a full life. These quiet hours are simply part of that richness. Let them remind you not just of what you've lost, but of all that you've held, felt, and become. If you found yourself waking at 3 a.m. more often these days, take a moment to breathe and know that you're not alone. Whether it's your body's natural decline in melatonin, a shift in your internal clock, a quiet ache, a subtle habit, or the gentle voice of memory rising in the dark, each of these moments tells a story, and none of them means something is wrong. Aging doesn't follow a rigid path. It unfolds in rhythms, some physical, some emotional. Your sleep is simply one of the ways your body and spirit continue to communicate with you. Rather than viewing these early wake-ups as something to fix, what if we viewed them as invitations? Invitations to notice, to listen, to adjust. Maybe it's time to dim the lights a little earlier, take a short evening walk, or reach out to someone you love before bed. Maybe it's time to sit quietly with your thoughts or keep a notepad by the nightstand for the memories that stir. These small choices can create big changes, not just in how you sleep, but in how you feel about yourself. Your body isn't failing, it's evolving, and it deserves compassion, not frustration. So the next time you wake before dawn, remember, it's not just your sleep cycle shifting, it's your life unfolding in new, meaningful ways. And you have the wisdom, awareness, and strength to move through it with grace. Thank you for taking this time to learn, reflect, and care for yourself.